Hello students, today I will be discussing SJF, that is shortest job first CPU scheduling algorithm, non-preemptive. What do you mean by non-preemptive? Non-preemptive means if the process is not executed fully, we cannot forcefully put it out of the CPU. So let's see the problem. They've given us three processes. Along with these three processes, there is a burst time associated with each process, and there is also an arrival time associated with each process. Burst time and arrival time is given in milliseconds. Now, if you see these processes, whenever there is an arrival time given, what we have to do? We have to make sure that we don't miss the arrival time. So in this case, which is the first process which has come at time 0, the process P2 has arrived at time 0, and that means it is the first process that will get a chance to get inside CPU. So let's draw the Gantt chart. So at time 0, process P2 gets a chance to get inside CPU. What is the burst time of process P2? The burst time of process P2 is 3. Though it is shortest job first, but it is non-preemptive. Once one process gets inside the CPU, it will not be forcefully put out of the CPU. That means whichever process is inside the CPU will fully get executed, and only then it will come out of the CPU. So what is the burst time of P2? 3. So after 3 milliseconds, P2 will come out of it, or we can say that P2 is fully completed. Now, at what time it got completed? It got completed at time 3. So, at time 3, which all processes you have? You have the process P1, which arrived at time 1, and also you have the process P3, which arrived at time 2. So, when we see who is there in the ready queue, so who all are there in the ready queue at time 3? There are two processes, P1 and P3. P1 has come at time 1 and P3 has come at time 2. Now, since this is the shortest job first, we will give importance to the job with the smallest or the smaller burst time. So, when we compare P1 and P3, which process has smaller burst time or least burst time? Process P3 has the smaller burst time compared to process P1. So 24 is greater than 3. So who gets the chance to get inside the CPU? Process P3 gets the chance to get inside the CPU, and the burst time of P3 is 3. It gets the chance to get inside at time 3, and after that plus 3 at time 6, P3 will be fully executed. And then at the end, P1 gets a chance to get inside the CPU. So we mentioned P1. What is the burst time of P1? 24. So 6 plus 24 is 30. So at time 30, P1 will be fully executed. Non-preemptive SJF. So even if you get any process which is of the smaller CPU burst time, still the process which is there inside the CPU will be fully completed. It will not be forced out of the CPU. Let's calculate the turnaround time and waiting time. So what is the turnaround time of P1? What is the formula? Completion time minus arrival time. So what is the completion time of P1? 30. And what time P1 arrived? P1 arrived at time 1. So 30 minus 1 is how much? 29. So completion time of P2 is 3 minus arrival time of P2 is 0. So 3 minus 0 is 3. Let's calculate the turnaround time of P3. What time P3 got completed? P3 got completed at time 6. And what is the arrival time of P3? Arrival time of P3 is 2. So 6 minus 2 is 4. And when we calculate the turnaround time, what is the turnaround time? 29 plus 3 plus 4 divided by 3. 36 divided by 3. 12 milliseconds. Now let's calculate the waiting time of P1. What is the turnaround time of P1? That's 29 minus what is the burst time of P1? Burst time of P1 is 24. 29 minus 24 is 5. So waiting time of P1 is 5 milliseconds. Let's calculate the waiting time of P2. What is the turnaround time of P2? It's 3. And the burst time of P2 is 3 again. So 3 minus 3 is 0. What is the waiting time of P3? Turnaround time of P3 is 4. Turnaround time of P3 is 4 minus burst time of P3, that's 3. So 4 minus 3, that's 1. And what is the average waiting time? 5 plus 1 is 6. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So 2 milliseconds. So this is SJF, shortest job first, non-preemptive CPU scheduling algorithm. Whenever the arrival time is given, even though it is SJF, the process which arrives first will get a chance to get inside the CPU, and since this is non-preemptive, once the process is inside the CPU, until and unless it's fully executed, it cannot be forcefully put out of the CPU. The next algorithm that we are going to see is SJF preemptive. So let's see SJF preemptive CPU scheduling algorithm. If you see the question, there are three processes P1, P2 and P3. The burst time of each process is given. P1 has the burst time of 4, P2 has the burst time of 8 and P3 has the burst time of 3. Arrival time of P1 is 1, arrival time of P2 is 0 and arrival time of P3 is 2. Since P2 came at time 0, P2 gets the chance to get inside the CPU. So let's write P2. Now see, this is preemptive. Because this is a preemptive CPU scheduling algorithm, whenever new process enters our ready queue or whenever the new process comes, we have to show the interrupt here. There is an interrupt at time 1. Okay, because one process has come at time 1. Which process has come? P1 has come. Now P2 was inside the CPU. What is the burst time of P2? 8. Now out of 8, it got executed for 1 unit. So what remains? 7 remains. Okay. Now there is a disturbance or there is an interrupt at time 1 because one process has come. Which process has come? Process P1 has come. What is the burst time of process P1? 4. So which job is the shortest? P2 with 7 or P1 with 4? P1 with 4 is the shortest compared to 7. So P2 will be sent out of the CPU. P2 is sent out of the CPU. So it goes to the ready queue and remaining burst time of P2 is 7. P1 gets the chance to get inside the CPU. So P1 gets inside the CPU. So let's write it. Now if you see there is a disturbance at time 2. So at time 2 let's show the disturbance. At time 2 there is a disturbance. Fine. Now what was the burst time of P1? Burst time of P1 was 4. It got executed for 1 unit. So how much is remaining? 3. Who has come at time 2? P3 has come at time 2. What is the burst time of P3? 3. Now if you see P1's remaining time is also 3 and P3 is also 3. So operating system will not waste time in writing the PCBs and sending P1 out and taking P3 in. Rather P1 only will continue. So now P1 will continue for 3 more milliseconds. So let's show it. P1 will continue for 3 more milliseconds. So at 5, P1 will be fully completed. Okay. Okay, so who is remaining? P3 is remaining. In our ready queue, we have P2 with 7 milliseconds and P3 with 3 milliseconds. Is there any other process arriving after this? No. So directly, now we don't have to worry about the interrupts. So directly what we can do? We can show that when we compare P2 and P3, P3 is smaller. P3 has a smaller burst time than P2. So P3 gets a chance to get inside the CPU. Let's write P3. What is the burst time of P3? 3. So 5 plus 3 at 8. P3 will be fully completed. Then P2 gets a chance to get inside the CPU. What was the remaining burst time of P2? 7. So 8 plus 7 is 15. So at time 15, P2 will be fully completed. So see here, P2, since P2 came first, P2 got a chance to get inside the CPU. But because the different processes came with the smallest burst time, P2 had to wait outside the CPU. And once other small processes got executed, it waited in the ready queue, and once both the processes got executed, the smaller processes got executed, P2 was given a chance to get back inside the CPU once again, and then it got fully completed. Okay, is this clear? Fine. Let's calculate the turnaround time of P1. So what is the turnaround time of P1? What is the completion time of P1? 5. So let's write 5. And what is the arrival time of P1? P1 came at time 1. So 5 minus 1 is 4. Then turnaround time of P2. What is the completion time of P2? 15. So 15 minus. What is the arrival time of P2? P2 came at time 0. So 15 minus 0 is 15. And the turnaround time of process P3. So what is the completion time of process P3? The completion time of process P3 is 8. So 8 minus arrival time of process P3 is 2. So 8 minus 2. Let's calculate the average turnaround time. So if you see, it's 25. 25 divided by 3, 8.3 milliseconds. Let's calculate the waiting time of P1. So what is turnaround time of P1? That is 4. And minus burst time of P1. So burst time is also 4. So 4 minus 4 is 0. Waiting time of P2. What is the turnaround time of P2? 15. P2 is 8. So 15 minus 8. Waiting time of P3. So turnaround time of P3 is 6. Minus. What is the burst time of P3? 3. So 6 minus 3 is 3. So this is SJF preemptive CPU scheduling algorithm. Same example, but here in this case the arrival time of each and every process is given as 0. This is when the arrival time is given as 0, that is the simplest algorithm that you will always have. Okay, now since all the processes have come at time 0, our job is very simple. We just have to find out which is the smallest process. Smallest means the process with the smallest burst time. So that is the process P3. So P3 gets a chance to get inside the CPU first. So in our Gantt chart, we write P3. P3 gets inside at time 0. What is the burst time of P3? 3. So P3 gets executed at time 3. Next smallest process is P1. So P1 gets the chance to get inside the CPU. What is the burst time of P1? 4. So 4 plus 3 is 7. So at time 7, P1 is fully completed. And at the end, P2 gets the chance to get inside the CPU. And what is the burst time of P2? The burst time of P2 is 8. 8 plus 7 is 15. Okay, let us calculate the turnaround time of P1. What is the turnaround time of P1? No, completion time of P1 is 7 minus arrival time is 0. So 7 minus 0 is 7. Next is turnaround time of P2. What is the completion time of P2? 15 minus arrival time is 0. Then turnaround time of P3. So what is the completion time of P3? Completion time of P3 is 3. So that is 3. And what is the arrival time? Arrival time is 0. So 3 minus 0 is 3. What is the average turnaround time? 25 divided by 3. So it is 8.3 milliseconds. Let's calculate the waiting time of P1. So that is turnaround time 7 minus the burst time of P1. Burst time is 4. So 7 minus 4 is equal to 3. Waiting time of P2. What is the turnaround time of P2? 15. Minus the burst time of P2 is 8. So that is 7. And waiting time of P3 is turnaround time, that is 3. Minus the burst time, that is 3. So 3 minus 3 is 0. And what is average waiting time? 7 plus 3 is 10. 10 divided by 3, so 3.3 milliseconds. So today I have covered shortest job first CPU scheduling algorithm. We have seen 3 examples. The first one with shortest job first with different arrival time, non-preemptive. Then we have seen SJF preemptive with different arrival time, and at the end we have seen one more example of SJF preemptive with arrival time given as 0 for all the processes. That's all for the day. Thank you.